welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
Kyle, how are you doing today?
I'm so ready for Christmas break.
Me too. Me too. And we hope you guys are already enjoying the holiday season or getting ready to as well. It's always a busy time of the year. And
hmm
hopefully, we had some Philadelphia Union news drop today
We did.
as we tweeted out. Happy MLS schedule release date to those who celebrate. So we will get into that, kind of our initial reactions. But also today, a little bit of news.
hmm
We had some players coming, returning, players departing,
hmm
and maybe just touch on a little bit of some coaching news because, yeah, the Unions still do not have a head coach currently. So
No one official yet, anyway.
nothing. Anyway, but before we get started, what are we wearing today?
I just broke out one that I haven't worn in a while, and it is the season ticket member shirt from, I don't know, is it 2023 or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
2022, 2023, one of
I think it
those.
was 22.
Could have been. Yeah, it's just the navy blue with the lighter blue snake. Like that's the
Mm-hmm.
you know, the one that's in pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, just it's a whatever shirt.
Yeah, and I am wearing a shirt I haven't worn in a while. I haven't worn the Larimer dupe shirt in a while.
Yeah,
So,
we don't go to the Larimer as much anymore because like now that
yeah,
we park in G, and then we go to Union Yards or hang out in Sons of Ben afterward, or we're just coming from the pressers and stuff. It's like, yeah, we don't go there over there, and it's
or,
much
or they're closed.
or they're
So,
closed.
yeah.
So
So, but anyway, let's get into it. Before we start, just a reminder, next week is our third annual What If episode.
hmm
I did drop a link on our social media that has the posts. There you can go in there and submit your own what ifs, such as what if Andre Blake didn't miss over 50% of the games this year?
Yeah, we'd love to hear your what ifs.
Yeah, so please drop those, send them our way. Again, as always, we love hearing from you guys. So speaking of that, where can people find us?
You can find us on Twitter. I refuse to call it X at TOTWAG. We're also on Blue Sky at TOTWAG. On Facebook and Instagram at The One Team We Agree On. We have our website, theoneteamweagreeon.com, our YouTube channel as well. And you can also find me on TikTok, Jillian underscore Almany. I'm at silly double underscore Jilly on TikTok or on Twitter, and you're at Coach Almany on
Hmm.
Twitter. We're both on Blue Sky as well. I'm at Jillian Almany on Blue Sky,
I'm at Coach Omni.
and at Coach Almany. And find us wherever you get your podcasts as well.
Yeah, and thank you guys again for listening. And with that said, we had some players coming and players going. Um, you wrote an article this week published on our website.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a little bit of news. Al,
LA is back, but the fire get Jack. That's
yep.
my article.
So yeah, if you haven't heard, uh, Cap is back. So but before we get into a little bit about our thoughts, I do want to share something because last year there was a lot of discussion on would he be back. So
Yeah.
in that spirit, I think it's only appropriate that we play this.
Talked about your desire to not hang up your boots just yet. Where are you in that process in terms of thinking about your next step and whether it's here, somewhere else, what
Yeah, I
else
don't
can
know.
you
Ask
share?
Jonathan. He kind of knows. I think he was writing that I was retiring. I don't know who he talks to in the club that's giving him that information or whatever. But I feel good. I feel fine. I'm still playing at a pretty high level, and I'm doing my thing. So mentally and physically, I feel fine, and I want to keep going. I don't know what's going to happen next season. I'm not worried about that yet. I'm just worried about getting this team into the playoffs and see where it goes.
On the spot, talked about your desire to not.
Okay.
So
So yeah, so this was post game after the New York Red Bulls. We were at the away match and we were talking to Bedoya. And so our friend Jose Nunez, he had asked LA about, if he was planning to retire basically. And I mean, honestly, that moment was so funny because LA did kind of call out another one of the reporters.
yeah.
And so
Yeah, no, it was interesting. So He is indeed not retiring.
Yes, and
And
as someone who is close in age to Ale, I applaud him. I couldn't do what he's doing.
absolutely.
I just like, like go to pick something off the ground and probably throw out my back at this point. So good for you, Ale, and cheers to you. And I'm for one, I'm glad he's back. I
Yeah.
think he'll bring some good veteran leadership, just like I wrote in the article. I think it's definitely some leadership, especially with a new head coach coming in who we still don't know who that is. I mean, we'll talk about that, but um, you know, I think that'll be important. And it's him still being in that front office role that he's been doing as well as, the on the pitch kind of role. So, I mean, it's kind of win-win. They don't need to pay him as much as they would, so it helps with the payroll, but also
Yeah.
helps with the player development side of things.
For sure, for sure. And like I was sharing here, so basically, Ali re-signed to the 2025 season.
Mhm.
In addition, he'll continue his role per the press release on the field and in the locker room, where he began work in 2024 as a player, uh, the professional development role. And
Which
in the
people are like, what the heck is that?
Well,
Yeah.
it's just a front office
Yeah.
specialist, as
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. What's a
But
front office specialist?
something that stood out to me, and I want to touch on this because when we were at the press conference, um, and listening to Ernst, kind of
Mhm.
talking about the off season, he mentioned Ali coming back, and one of the things he talked about was the job he did in that role. And
Mhm.
one of the things here he says Alejandro's contribution as a player, leader, and a front office specialist proved invaluable last season. While he's still an important player on the field, his leadership insight in his player development role especially is beneficial. To me, and to me, the reason I shared that is that just really stood out to me, as somebody who appreciates, that transition from a player into a coach
Yeah.
or you know, an admin. Um, and I think, to be honest with you, I don't know how you feel. I think that's one of the big reasons. I know me and Todd Lewis talked about that. That was one of the main reasons I felt that they were going to re-sign him because that front office. Well, now I know some people are like, "Why are we bringing him back?" But you gotta imagine, and I know Todd and Jose talked about it on Free Kick earlier this week. Excellent episode if you haven't
Hmm.
checked it out, by the way. Um, that you got a new coach
Hmm.
coming in. You got this transition period. You're gonna, you're talking about bringing up some of these younger players, um, playing some of these younger players. You're gonna need a little bit of leadership. And while Ali certainly, proved valuable at times, I mean, he's not what he was a few years ago or even longer, but that leadership skill, I think
Yeah.
that's going to be invaluable during this season, both on and off the field.
Yeah, no, I agree. And especially, with the new coach coming in, he might not utilize Ale the way Jim did. I don't know if we'll see Ale starting games. We don't know if he'll even still be the captain. We don't know any of that.
No, we
So
don't.
it'll be interesting to see. But I think no matter what, I think he does bring the great leadership. And I've always appreciated how LA is very forthcoming with the information. He will tell you what he thinks,
Yeah,
and he's been great to talk to. So no, I appreciate that. And like I said, I think it's win-win. I'm glad he's back. And if this is it, I'd like to see him go out on his terms, and maybe
for sure.
they actually do something this year. It's honestly a shame that number one, he couldn't be on the field because he was injured, and you know, them go win the MLS Cup. That would have been a perfect way for him to go out.
Yeah, I mean that would have been the storybook ending, so to speak, or not even ending, just a moment for him.
Yeah. I still maintain had he been on the field, they might have won that.
Yeah, I mean we'll never
We'll
know,
never know. What
but
if?
yeah.
That's a what if for 2022 though.
But at the same time, I think you hit something on the head. What's his role going to be?
Hmm.
Because certainly you could go out and get somebody, maybe a young U22, cheaper. You could,
Hmm.
maybe play some of these younger kids, more minutes for Quinn Sullivan, we
Yeah.
talked about last episode, Jesus Bueno.
Yeah.
I think his role, if all goes right, is hopefully going to be maybe that again, 10, 15 minutes off the bench. Um, and you try to, maybe change the game late. But more importantly, I think his value is, like we said, leadership role. So again, it's good to have him back. But we'll see kind of how that all goes. Unfortunately, Ernst talked about that as well in his press conference that they, had made an offer to Jack Elliott.
Yes, he kept
And
saying that it was respective. I think he meant respectable. But yes.
yes, yeah, it was respectable. Um, but ultimately, Jack ended up signing with the Chicago Fire, and he signed for this year with an option for 2026.
Yep.
And we saw it on social media. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
fans upset, this and that. Again, we signed Jack Elliott, but I want to bring up a point. We signed Jack Elliott. We're running it back
Yep.
to run it back to run it back to run it back again. Now you're gonna say, well, you could bring in, we hear the reports about the center back potentially coming in,
Mm-hmm.
but I think at the same time, a lot of us have talked about this. You only get one career. Corey
Yeah.
Burke and other people. So I mean, I have no idea what he's going to make. That won't be released, but I think it's an opportunity.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't blame him. And when you read the Instagram post, you could tell that he really did want to stay in Philly. I mean, that's become home for him. That's where his wife is from.
Yeah,
They've established a life there. They have a baby on the way. Um he he's a fourth round draft pick for the Union, so he's spent his whole time there. So I don't blame him if he's feeling a little like let down that they
yeah,
couldn't work it out. So, and also, like it's been pointed out by many people, you only have one career, he's going for it. I don't blame him. At the
yeah,
same time, yeah, it stinks to lose him. I honestly thought maybe he was a little stronger than Jacob Glesnes was this past season.
yeah. That
But
is one of the things I'm
um
kind of like, I
but
kind of wish
you
he was
know,
like,
but I think we do need to just freshen things up back there too.
I mean,
So it hopefully it's win-win. Hopefully Jack, finds some success, just not against the Union when
mm-hmm,
they play. And hopefully the Union bring in some fresh blood, if they have Ian in there and
yeah,
if they bring up any guys or whatever they do, hopefully that rejuvenates the back line because they desperately need it. That was rough last season.
hot take. I'd like them to move up both center backs, bring in a whole new contingent. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, and certainly now you're going to replace both center backs defensively. That's a tall task to have, but let's be honest, the amount of minutes these guys have played together over the last 3, 4 years now, I mean, in that style, I mean, you're not getting any younger. So, but again,
No.
I do hope that, like you said, sparks, kind of catching lightning in a bottle again. He returned
Yeah.
to that form that he had in 2022, and, you know, I think for me, I think my memories of Jack Elliott was, he was always good to talk to. At
Absolutely.
the media game
Super nice.
last year, he was the player there hanging out with all the people in the media. Um, and just getting to talk to him there was great.
For the
Also,
media game? Yeah.
yeah, the media
Yeah, the
game.
media game that they didn't have this year, by the way.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
yet San Diego's having one and they haven't even played any games yet. Okay.
a little off topic there, but
But still.
no,
But yeah.
I think, just his off field work with the Slocums.
Oh, yeah. Can I say, like,
Yeah,
Jack, so wonderful. Jack and his wife Shelby. They were fantastic with the Slocum family, with Elliot and Olivia and those guys. Like, just amazing. As soon as that news came out, I thought of Elliot and thinking, oh
yeah.
man, he's gonna be torn up about that. So
Yeah, I mean, he was
yeah,
just a class player,
he really
always
was.
gave his time. So I think so, those are some of the best moments that we
Um,
will say.
yeah, well, you remember when we were in Montreal at the away match,
Yep.
you know. and I said about this in my article, I put the video on there if anyone listening wants to see it. Um, when, we had a pretty good away support,
Mhm.
and the Union lost that game, and it was a bummer and everything, and players were all like looking dejected and everything, and Jack Elliott was the only one who came over and applauded the away fans.
Correct. So
Yeah.
again, it goes back. So wish him best of luck. Obviously,
Hmm.
maybe not as much against the Union, but I think there's a good story there, and he definitely is going to leave a legacy with the fans. I feel
Yeah.
maybe not Ring of Honor person, but somebody that as a fan favorite, definitely going to see him. When they have Legends Day,
Yeah.
maybe someday he'll be back.
I mean, moments away from being the MVP of the MLS final.
We're
Like,
bringing that up
oh my
again.
gosh. Yeah, but
I know.
still it's just like but for him to score 2 goals in that game was incredible, and always have those moments where before our souls got crushed. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, again, I think there was both interest in both parties for him to come back.
right.
But at the end of the day, you only have one career and you gotta kind of follow your path. So,
Yep.
um, let's switch topics now to so we had a little news. When was that? Tuesday, was it?
Something like that.
Tuesday, early morning Tuesday. Or was it yesterday? News
I don't
broke.
know, it's all running together,
I,
but it was this week. This week
I
has
think it was
been
I think
crazy.
it was
Maybe it
yesterday.
was
Yeah,
yesterday.
it's the holidays.
I'm
Uh,
sorry, my brain's fried. It's been a long day. Yeah.
uh, So Thomas Leitch, who was kind of linked, I think Tom Bogert kind of say he was a top candidate or front runner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, uh, Red Bull Salzburg fired their manager
Mm-hmm.
earlier this week, and basically 48 hours later hired him as their new manager.
Yep.
So.
So he's off the table.
So
Yep.
there was one piece of the puzzle. So I remember talking to Todd, going, "Man, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" And lo and behold, our friend Jose Nunez
Mm-hmm.
dropped a little nugget that potentially former manager of St. Louis City,
Mm-hmm.
Bradley Canal, is a potential candidate now.
Mm-hmm.
So. We're going from, European, Red Bull way to somebody who was also in the Red Bull system, uh, in Carnell. And, 2 years of St. Louis City. Everybody's going to talk about that first year, where they won the West.
Yeah.
And then kind of last year, they kind of came back to reality and, he was let go. But I don't know. For me, like I was talking to some people, and I said, when it first came out, I was like, eh. But if the union were to sign him, I would approach it with an open mind. You never know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I would have an open mind. Like I know some people were like, "Oh, I'd be okay with this," and then some people were like, I know some people that are
Very,
very against it. People that I know are fans of St. Louis City.
yeah,
Um, I
but
know some of them were like they're saying, "Oh, there was issues between him and Sam the Denerin."
which we've heard,
Yeah.
we have heard.
So I mean, Sam's gone anyway, so that's
But also,
yeah,
there's just been, people have different opinions.
yeah.
At the end of the day, again, these are just rumors. Nothing's confirmed. Nothing's anything. We're not even going to speculate.
Right.
But
Whoever they bring in, I mean, I'm gonna give him a chance.
absolutely.
We'll see. But
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's the
mhm.
style that Ernst wants to play. Again, just chatting with Todd about this, it's like I kind of do wish Ernst would kind of change it up and say, maybe this style we need to expand our style. We can still use this as our foundation
Mhm.
and like this advantage, but we need to expand a little bit and maybe not just always do the Red Bull way. But
Yeah,
having said that, you know what you know, and sometimes you're so stubborn you can't get out of your own way.
this is very true. Very true.
So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. And we'll see where they kind of out. I mean, I keep thinking this is going not going to. You hope it doesn't drag on. I mean, we'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, they need to get something in place here because the season's gonna be here before you know it.
Anyway, let's have a little fun now. So something happened today,
They released the MLS schedule.
and man, the Union had such a great, amazing program. We saw
Sarcasm
literally,
noted.
literally right after USL Las Vegas Lights made my personal
Of
favorite
course, it's your favorite.
because you know exactly why that. No, I'll tell you why. They had like all the old motels and
Hmm.
like from like all those Asians. Of course, they showed a strip, but it was a fun one. But USL had some really fun ones. I was looking at a couple of them. But anyway, so did MLS, and one of them, in my opinion, was not the Philadelphia Unions.
Yeah. Okay, so for what it's worth too, like
Yeah,
when it came out, I didn't get to really see things until after like I was done teaching for the day. So
I was
then I
driving when it came out.
yeah, it came out like actually it was funny though because I'd heard it was coming out at 2.
Yeah,
And so I set alarm on my phone. Now I was in the middle of teaching, right?
yeah.
And the kids are working on stuff and I'm like and alarm goes off at 2 o'clock. I'm like it's like, oh, MLS schedule's out. I look on my computer at least and I see it, but I didn't get to see like because like I can't go on the social media and stuff in middle of class, but like I at least went on like the union's website and I saw the schedule. I'm like, oh. But then when I finally got to see this, I'm like, oh,
Five
okay.
MLS regular season schedule just dropped. Let's break down the Philadelphia Union's upcoming season. Here's the entire schedule in one long calendar, with days of the week along the top and months going vertically. Home games are marked with blue and away games with yellow. And as we would with any schedule release, let's circle a few key dates. The campaign kicks off on February 22nd in Orlando, with the home opener just a week later on March 1st at Subaru Park. On March 22nd, the Union hosts St. Louis for the first time ever, also their first out-of-conference matchup of the year and the gateway to the West, if you will. Just a week later, they'll fly down to Miami to take on Messi and his pack of Flamingos. On April 26th, the Union will host DC United, a team they've dominated over the past half-decade with just one loss in that period and a club record 87 goals scored against them all time. But then comes May, a marathon month for Philly, 7 games in total, including 4 against playoff teams from last season. During that stretch, there are crucial home showdowns with MLS Cup winning LA Galaxy on the 14th and Miami on the 24th. The Union will take not one but 2 trips to Texas in 2025. First up, Dallas at the end of May, then Houston in the middle of summer when the weather is just perfect. Sandwiched between those trips, they'll face the New York Red Bulls for the first time in the season, which should be a welcome sight since the Union haven't lost to them in 14 matches across all competitions
Gonna
dating back to
jinx us there.
2019. Now fast
Right.
forward to September 13th, when the team will fly 2,900 miles to Vancouver for their longest road trip of the year. Snakes on a plane, anyone? To wrap the season, Philly will stay close to home where they're the most comfortable. They'll face the Red Bulls, NYCFC, New England, and DC United to close out the campaign, and if history is any indicator, this could mean a hot streak. Over the past 5 years, the Union have 33 wins, 24 draws, and just 13 losses against those Northeast megalopolis teams in all competitions. Finally, decision day is on October 18th in
Oop.
Charlotte, the last day of the season, and hopefully the start of a lengthy playoff push. As always, you can catch every game on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV, and let's go Union.
Okay.
It was very mid.
So I kind of chuckled when I first heard this. Now, I will say this. I mean, this is not an insult to anybody in a social media team.
No,
But
no.
people, it's okay. But I chuckle because they're bringing out stats and data
That's your thing, Kyle. You're probably
stuff
like,
I know,
yeah.
and I'm just like, what, did somebody know that there's some people in the media that enjoy and in fandom that like bringing out stats? Like, okay, and then you bring up like, oh, the Union haven't lost against this team. Oh, the Union own this team. It's like, okay, we're totally jinxing this.
Yeah, did we learn nothing from the MLS Cup with that stinking tweet that will not ever go
Yeah,
away now at this point?
no,
So it's just okay.
I know,
It
but
was okay. Listen,
go
this
ahead.
tweet was okay, but when you look at what other teams put out, you're like, those are so much better. Oh my
Well, like
gosh.
some of them were fun, and
Yeah.
this was just like, here's our schedule, here's some interesting stats, here's what we're doing. And it was like,
Okay.
as Todd Lewis said, I said, Todd, do you have a comment for this? He goes, that the schedule sucks. And we'll get to that in a second because it's not the greatest schedule and not from a protection. Like we were talking about places we want to go. It's like, Oh,
selfishly, we're like, oh, the schedule sucks because like
yeah,
there's nowhere like really interesting. Like we were hoping for RSL or
but like
like
even like I wanted to go to Toronto this year. It's on Wednesday during the school year. It's like we're not gonna be able to go to
yeah,
that.
I would love to go to Toronto. Yeah.
But I mean, so for us, it was just kind of like, okay, that's schedule release, kind of plain Jane.
Yeah.
But then you look at a team like Charlotte.
Charlotte wins on this. I'm
I
like
mean, let's go to Charlotte. Here is
yeah.
Charlotte's. So they do the. Let's look at this
We'll look
one.
at the Union, the one for Union. Okay. So Charlotte, they basically did like a MySpace profile for
Hmm.
each team that they were playing against. And we are people of a certain age. We had MySpace profiles. And this is well played, I will say this. Okay, so they really like personalize these to make it each team. So we got Ben Franklin picture, first of all, and it has like information, about the team when they're playing them. It has the logo and all that. Philadelphia Union's interest, music, Thunderstruck, AC/DC, Always Sunny theme song, and then Rocky movies. Oh, and it's funny because in the tweet it said like, Rocky Five stand, because we all know Rocky Five's the worst one. Um, has all the Rocky movies, TV shows, Abbott Elementary, Eagles games, Go Birds. Yeah. And then I have to say it's Philadelphia and the top friends down there. Ugh, they put
Garrett Bale.
Gareth Bale,
Yeah,
Raquinho there, MLS Super Draft. Haha,
yeah,
that's funny and gritty.
yeah.
But and of course the background is that tweet with the Jack Elliott greater than Gareth Bale. Ugh.
I gotta tell you what
So
my
you know what?
favorite, my
Well,
favorite
oh,
one.
well played though, Charlotte, on that. Okay, yeah, this one's great for
Goose.
Sporting KC.
Yeah,
First of all, I was giving Joe for the
that
picture.
is Ted
Ted
Lasso.
Lasso says barbecue sauce. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's that's
that
hilarious.
is funny. Like those were all really funny.
So I mean, again, I mean, and there was a couple other I was looking
Yeah, I
at.
didn't really have a chance to look at many others, but the Charlotte one, I
I've
was
only
like,
seen like 5 or 6 balls better than you. But again, this isn't a shot to people that came together. It just was kind of like, okay. I mean, I personally like the stats, but it was like,
yeah.
I mean, if you're just a casual fan, you're just gonna be like, what is this? Yeah. So, without further ado,
Let's look at the schedule.
let's dive into this a little bit because again, we don't want to be here for an hour tonight.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So let me pull this up here. All right, we'll get to it right now. All right, and sure. All right, so here is the 2025 MLS schedule.
So we kick off the season away at Orlando City. All right,
Hmm.
and then so March 1st, home opener. Of course, we have a swim meet that weekend.
We're
A
gonna go.
championship one.
We're going.
We'll figure out something.
Yeah.
But yeah, FC Cincinnati, March 1st. Hey, we don't have any home games at this point in February.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I guess we went because they're not in CCC or anything like that. So I guess well, still March will freeze our butts off. Yeah, so then March 8th at the Revs.
So
Um
Orlando is really cheap. I've already looked at a couple
we don't
flights.
have a swim meet February 22nd.
I mean, maybe we'll head down for the home opener. I mean, I would like to do this.
I wouldn't mind that.
We could go stay with your cousin on the 29th.
Okay, that I've was looking at too, because like we don't have anything that weekend either.
No,
Now,
we'll probably do NYCFC. That's a
so
Saturday.
okay, looking at this, yeah, so we have Nashville at home, we have St.
San
Louis
Jose
City at
at home.
home. Of course, it's the state swim meet for that weekend. I don't think I'll have any kids make that meet, but
No.
you never know. Anyway,
I mean,
but
realistically,
we play, yeah, Union play Orlando like close February 22nd, but then okay,
yeah,
April 5th. Oh, Kyle, April 5th, that's when the Timberwolves are playing at the Sixers, so I guess we
yeah,
can't go to that. Sixers suck right now anyway.
yeah.
Um those tickets are
We'll
probably gonna be cheap by then.
probably do NYCFC or at least consider it
Yeah, April 12th. Is that a what day of the week is that?
Saturday.
That's Saturday. Oh yeah, we should be able to do that. Um
May 3rd, I'd love to
so we
do
got
that.
Atlanta, we got DC.
Then we got Montreal on Saturday, May 3rd. Love to do Montreal again, but
Yeah. And it's during the school year. I mean, that would be fun. I loved going to Montreal. That was
yeah,
fun.
if you're listening, I recommend Montreal.
One that I wouldn't mind seeing would be Atlanta.
Yeah, I've
Um,
thought about that one too. I was talking to Todd about that, about going down.
so May 24th, of course, is one that a lot of people are going to circle because
Uh,
that's the home game against Miami. Um, hey, May 24th, that's my bestie's birthday. Anyway, that's Alicia's birthday.
the one I'm bummed about is May 28th against Toronto. I really want to go to Toronto this
Yeah, I've
year.
only been to Toronto once. It was on a school trip, and I'd love to go there and also see the Hockey Hall of Fame. I was really hoping it
Yeah.
would be a weekend because that's one we could drive to, or we could fly. But
And
you
then
know,
the 31st are in Dallas.
well, we've been there now, so
And we recommend if you haven't
yeah,
been, you've been there.
yeah.
Then they play Charlotte on the 14th, 2 days
Ooh,
before my
and that's
birthday.
on my mom's birthday. Yeah.
And then the 25th, they're in Chicago for a Wednesday night game. There again, another city we'd like to go to on Wednesday night in June.
Yeah, I mean, summer's a little more
Yeah,
doable,
but
but
then
still
the 29th, that Sunday, they're in Columbus
Columbus, yeah.
again, but that's a Sunday.
Yeah.
And then the following Saturday is Nashville, and I'm thinking, okay, Nashville, but
That's
that's 4th of July weekend.
probably gonna be expensive.
Exactly.
Because that's one I really want to go to at some point. Um, all right, so then July 12th, home game against
Mhm.
New York Red Bulls. July 16th, home game against Montreal.
A rare Wednesday.
Yeah. And there's also, like I said, there's a few day games on this too, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So, in fact, yeah, there's a few there. So they're at Houston. I mean, again, Texas, like I've only been to Texas like, well,
Have you been to Texas
twice.
in July?
Not in July.
You don't get the joke, do you? There used to be a metal band called Texas in July that
Oh,
Jeremy from CI,
uh-huh.
that was the name of the band. August Burns Red, Texas in July. They're two Lancaster bands.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. Gotcha. All right. So we've got what, Colorado for a home game.
26.
Yeah. All right. So we actually have August games, by the way. You know, because remember, League's Cup is
We'll get
changing.
into that in a second.
Yeah, so we're at Red Bulls on Saturday, August 16th. We should be able to do that.
Mhm.
Of course, the press box is going to be different. Um, let's see. So, home against Chicago, August 23rd. My last hurrah for summer before I go back to school. At Cincinnati, August 30th.
I mean, I'm thinking
That could be a possibility. I mean, it'd be nice
maybe
to go to there when it's not freezing. Okay, now September 13th, Vancouver. Um,
would,
that's a trip I would love to do.
would.
Vancouver is a city I would love to see.
That is
If
like
it is not like ridiculously expensive, we could find a cheap way to get there. I'd love to do it.
this is the wild card. This is the Nashville last year that we were saying we were going to do it, we're going to do it, we're going to do it. And I even said to you, first thing I said in the group, one of our group chats was, "Oh, we're doing it." And now I'm thinking to myself, and then I was like, "Oh crap!" I'm looking at the flights, like, "Oh, it's $700, $800." Yeah,
Like, again, we pay out of our own pocket to do all this stuff.
well,
We are not paid to do any of this stuff, okay?
yeah, but
So
that's the
just putting
love
that
and
out there. We're not
support.
sponsored or anything. So
That's the love and the spawn.
we love what we do. And
It's
we
love, I
support the
love
team.
the team. So
Yeah.
and just being able to cover this team the way we
Yeah.
have,
But
and
I've heard Vancouver's such a cool city.
it's amazing.
And,
Everybody's been there.
yeah. I mean, going to Canada's fun.
And then we have the September 20th is New England. Then we're in
Um,
DC. We'll be there October 4th, NYCFC, and then we finish in Charlotte on the 18th.
and Charlotte's one that would be cool to go to. I know people that live
Yeah, we
down
know
there and
people.
everything.
So
Um, but as far as like, okay, so the away Miami game though, that could be interesting. So,
your
my
cousin.
cousin lives like right by there. So that would be interesting. I wouldn't mind going there, and making a little beach trip out of it. So we'll see. We'll have to play this by ear, but I was
Yeah,
really hoping for like
Seattle,
Seattle
San
or
Diego.
San Diego or really like
Heck, I'd even take Colorado at this point.
Colorado we loved. We would gladly go back.
Minnesota.
I'd love to see Minnesota. Like that's a state I haven't been to. Any of those, but yeah, we were really hoping for RSL because we love Utah. Um, so that's
We'll
yeah,
see. I
yeah.
mean, overall thoughts on the schedule other than it stinks.
I mean, it's good to see there's a few day games in there.
Yeah, that was my big thing. I like the day games. I will say this. I think with our schedule specifically coming up in 2025, um, the slower now. I mean, they make a run. Let's say, assume they get in the U.S. Open and they make a run. We'll have a couple more Wednesdays, but I like how it's just Saturday games.
Yeah.
I think, oh, excuse me. I
Yeah,
think,
March is always tricky for us because we have like championship swim
yeah,
meets, but
I like all that. So,
yeah,
I mean,
for us there's only like a couple conflicts at this point. And we'll see what we can
but I
do.
definitely think like the New York teams, DC.
Yeah.
Probably a Florida team and maybe an Ohio team, and then we'll figure out maybe a couple. I think my game, especially after looking at this schedule, I mean, Boston's what, 8 hours, 8 hours away? I mean,
We've been there, so we've driven there.
yeah, so I mean, it's 8 hours to Charlotte, so hey, some road trips coming up. But yeah, just again, big announcement. Well, an upcoming episode next week. In time for the holidays. We'll be doing our what if episode. Uh, just a disclaimer, there will be lots of speculation in
It's
this
all
one.
speculation, nothing like
It's all what
not
if.
special info that we're privy to or anything
No,
like that.
it's literally what
Just
if.
having some fun.
So the more fun you make with these, the more fun we're gonna have with these. So this is gonna be a good show.
Yes, please send us your what ifs.
Yes. And so that's it for this episode of the One Team We Agree On.
Yeah, so make sure to like and subscribe, leave us comments because we love hearing from you. Spread the word, if you enjoy what we do, tell your friends and get the word out there because we are, you know, always looking to grow. And check out our website and interact with us on social media, everything. We appreciate you.
Yep. And until next time, I'm Kyle,
I'm Jillian.
and we'll see you at the game.